Hi, welcome back to my channel. You're watching Saemiful. Hallo, liebe Saemiful Familie. Today is a requested video by one of our Saemiful family members, and I know that some of our Saemiful viewers are also potential incoming students of LSE the following term. So I wanted to give a set of tips on how I selected current LSE student accommodation halls and in terms of making decisions on housing here in London. So okay, I know it can be daunting to plan finances here in London, and one of the biggest thing that takes up this pie of finances is of course housing. And I have shared with you earlier that the reason why I chose Butler's Wharf as my master's studies program student accommodation hall was because one, I didn't have enough time to do apartment hunting before I started my master's studies program here in London, especially because I was still working in Seoul, Korea, even like a week or 2 weeks before I had to leave to London. And two, I knew how stressful apartment hunting was going to be. I wanted to be physically, emotionally, and mentally fit to start my first term in the best condition as I could be. So I didn't want to be stressed about this whole housing. I just wanted to get things done, you know, put it aside, and I'm just going to live in student accommodation hall. And that's how I made my decision. But now that I have been living here for 6 months, you guys probably want to hear a little bit more about whether my opinion about living in accommodation hall changed. So that's what I'm going to talk about. So before I begin, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel by clicking down on the red button down below, and let's get started. Okay, first of all, the first question that I want you to ask is, one, is home environment important for you? For me, living environment is incredibly important. So I did consider living and choosing to live privately in a private housing instead of student accommodation hall. But then with my circumstances, it didn't give me enough time to do the apartment hunting. So that's why I ended up choosing to stay in a student accommodation hall. But unlike me, if you have enough time, if you could come to London at least 3 or 4 weeks before your term starts, then that'll give you enough time to do apartment hunting and find your place to live in. So let's talk about what kind of options you have if you want to live in student accommodation halls as a master's student at LSE. I put a link below where you could see a whole list of possible student accommodation halls that you can live. So if you click on the link, you will see refine your search menu. There, in student type, just click on graduate. It'll give you a list of 13 possible accommodation halls that you can choose from. So here you see High Holborn Residence, which is probably the closest to the campus, about 10 minutes away from campus by foot. And then Sidney Webb House, which is just located southern part of the Thames River. There's Urbanest King's Cross, which is in the King's Cross Station area. Then there's the Lillian Knowles house. There's actually a video on Lillian Knowles house. One of the MediaCom graduates also has made a video about this hall, so you guys could check that out. And then there's Butler's Wharf, which is the place that I live in. The Urbanest Westminster Bridge, Knowles House, College Hall, International Hall, and the list goes on. And I'm not sure if here the houses that say limited availability actually took in any students this year. When I had to apply for student accommodation halls, High Holborn, Sidney Webb, Urbanest King's Cross, Urbanest Westminster, Lillian Knowles, and Butler's Wharf were the only options. So let me go one by one. So High Holborn is probably the closest one near to our campus. It's right by Holborn Station. So if you do not want to spend too much time walking to campus, live near the campus, close to Covent Garden, National Gallery, the whole Soho, Mayfair area, it's right in the city downtown, this might be a good option. But if you look at the contract length, it only provides 39 weeks, which means that your contract will end by the end of the summer term, by the end of the Lent term. So you would have to find a new housing when you start doing your summer term or when you start writing your dissertation. And then there's Urbanest King's Cross. It's one of the newer buildings. King's Cross and Urbanest Westminster Bridge, they are both run and managed by the Urbanest. You can see it's quite expensive. You know, they have newer facilities, newer buildings, so it's understandable, but you know, cost is something that you also want to think about. Lillian Knowles is a lot of media communication students actually live there as well. It's you know, the weekly cost is from 171 to 291 pounds. Contract length you could also choose from 39 to 50 weeks. And Butler's Wharf, the contract length is only 50 weeks. And Butler's Wharf, the price is also very reasonable. And for me, living by the water, Tower Bridge, and I get to just go take a walk by the River Thames, the National Trail. That's like the best gift that I could ever ask for. So for me, Butler's Wharf, seriously, location-wise, I can be any happier. And for me, once I get out of this residence hall, if I need to look for potential housing areas in London, this area, Southern area where I live in, will be a very good place to live in. And another borough that I look at is Kensington. Of course, that's like very high-end, but really nice to live in. And also direct opposite side of Battersea Park, where it's near Pimlico, Chelsea, that area, but kind of further away from the city. So price-wise, you can also find a better fit. And another thing that I want to refer you to is this one post on Tumblr. LSE Students Union wrote about the 3 LSE postgraduate halls from a postgrad's view. This was written by Antonia Jennings, a postgrad at LSE. She said Butler's Wharf, the overview is a modern halls of residence. Butler's Wharf is made up of 46 self-contained flats, each of their own shared kitchen, living room, bathroom, showers, and toilets. And in your room, you will get a personal wash basin, and you will share a flat with 5 other people, or 6 of you in total. And the reason why you should choose Butler's Wharf is price, she said. It is one of the most inexpensive postgraduate halls at LSE, with single rooms starting at £134 a week. I'm sure that number is different now that it's 2020 and 2021. Still not that cheap, but you know, living in London, what can you expect? You can also stay at Butler's Wharf throughout the summer, which is something to consider if you like to do a full 12 months in London. So other halls use the summer to house summer schools and conferences. The drawback, if you like your privacy, there is no in-suite rooms at Butler's Wharf, which means that you would have to share a kitchen and bathrooms with others. The room sizes are also some of the smallest you will get at the LSE. It is indeed a little bit further away from the campus. But you know, in terms of location, for me, I personally can't find any better place to live in because I love the water. Lillian Knowles is situated in East London, sort of like Shoreditch, hip and so artistic area where lots of graffitis are. Lillian Knowles is also close to many bars, boutiques, and there are fancy sort of like food markets. So it's got a range of room types that you could choose from. Single studios to 1-bedroom in-suites, 1-bedroom flats. But majority of rooms are grouped into flats, very similar to Butler's Wharf. So it is situated like in Whitechapel, near to Liverpool Station. So, you know, the distance to school is pretty much the same as Butler's Wharf, maybe a little bit closer. So yeah, for those of you who like sort of like city life and evening, craft beer, alternative music fans, then you know Lillian Knowles might be a good place to live in. East London, there are some of the nice bars and clubs. They say, not that I go to clubs. Yeah, I think I'm well over that age where I go to clubs and I don't necessarily have lots of fun there. So Shoreditch is a whirlwind of independent record shops and artisan cafes and outrageous hairstyles. So if you're sort of like, if you're an artistic person and sort of love that nighttime life, then Lillian Knowles might be a good option. And one of the drawbacks of Lillian Knowles is that room sizes may vary, and you can't choose a specific room. So it's kind of like 복불복, you know? So, and also depending on where your rooms are, it it affects how much natural light you will get during the day and how close it is to shared facilities. And also depending on your room size, the prices can vary as well. So something that you would have to take consideration into. Sidney Webb is located near Borough Market. It's also in the southern side of the River Thames, just like Butler's Wharf. And Sidney Webb is fairly a new accommodation. So if you look for a living environment that is a little bit new and clean, then Sidney Webb might be an option. It houses flats with between 6 to 8 rooms. The flats share a kitchen, dining room, with each room having a private toilet and shower, and it's one of the biggest LSE has to offer, housing 454 graduate students. And one thing about Sidney Webb is that there's no option to share a room, which is different from Lillian Knowles or Butler's Wharf here. The distance to campus, it's about the same as Butler's Wharf. One of my friends also lives in Sidney Webb, and the only drawback about Sidney Webb is that the environment is not I mean, it is safe, but it's been so then recently. There have been some frequent incidents of pickpocketing. So some students came out of Sidney Webb House. As soon as they came out, there were bikes or motorcyclists who just snatch your phone or your wallet right off the street. So these things have happened in front of Sidney Webb House. So something, you know, I'm just letting you guys know that this is what happened. I'm sure it's very safe inside the hall, but yeah, I mean, for me, where I live in Butler's Wharf, it's right next to Tower Bridge, and it's such a touristy area. There are so many tourists all the time that nothing like that happens. It's very safe. Okay, so I hope this video gave you a sort of like general overview of where you could live in if you choose to live in one of the LSE student accommodation halls as a master student. And again, I didn't necessarily plan to make any of the LSE related videos since I already serve as a student vlogger for LSE official YouTube channel, but I've just been getting a lot of messages and emails from prospective students as well who want to know more about life at LSE. So hopefully these videos will give you a better idea, better sense of what you can expect and what you can do once you come here at LSE. And what I could assure you is that your year is going to be far better than probably my year, because starting mid-December last year for me, it's just been a constant lockdown. So I've been spending so much time in this like very, very small room, and you know, indeed, I can't wait till I sort of get out of this small bed. I really miss my queen size, really soft, comfortable bed at home. And obviously this is something temporarily I just need to get through until I get done with my master's program. And yeah, sometimes if you want to gain something, you just have to sacrifice certain aspects of your life. You can't have it all, you know? So, okay, I've talked a lot. I think it's about time for me to really get back to study. I have a big formative to write, so stay healthy. I'll come back in the next video. Ciao!